seconds away.
Good morning, Hebsy man.
Good morning, Toronto Mike. How are you?
I am good, buddy. How you doing? How
good.
did you enjoy that week off you got? You got a week
Seconds
off
away.
this week. Oh yeah, now I've heard it come back and we're live on your YouTube channel.
You're gonna have to go over some of the days with me. It's since Christmas, it's a blur. Like what day was what? Like because Saturday was Christmas, and Saturday was Christmas Eve. Saturday's gonna be New Year's Eve. Sunday was Christmas Day. This Sunday's gonna be New Year's Day. Some people took a stat the day before, 2 days after. Some people are off the whole week. Right. I don't know when they go back. When do they go back to school, the kids?
Tuesday. No, well, there's another week off. Like, so kids are not back at school next week. It's the next Monday.
Really?
So, yeah.
There's like no school next week?
No. It's a 2-week break.
Wow. What's going on with that?
Oh, it's always been 2 weeks. No? Wasn't it 2 weeks for you?
I guess so. You know what? One year I went to Florida with my buddy. It was almost 3 weeks. It just happened to be that, again, I can't figure it out now. My mind's too jumbled, but it was like, if you left on the Saturday, like the day after school, then you didn't have to be back for like, and I think it was like almost 3 full weeks. It was 19 days. It was like, wow, what a great holiday this is going to be. And we drove to Florida.
Nice.
It took like 3 days, and it was fun. I remember asking for bagels in Lexington, Kentucky, and the lady went, "What's a bagel?" A what? I said, a bagel. This is 19 in the 70s. Right. Just a bagel. A what? A bagel? What's that? And I'm like, okay, it's not true. You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy.
And then she gave you some grits instead.
We did. That's the first time I ever had grits. First time I ever had grits. Yeah, let's try it. It's all right. I remember we listened to 88, 90, 89, WLS in Chicago was a clear channel station, and you could get it like through almost our entire trip at nighttime, not during the day. As soon as the sun went down, you'd get this powerhouse station out of Chicago, and the disc jockeys, and they're playing like, here, Neil Sedaka now on WLS, and here's Paul McCartney and Wings. They had a huge, I think Band on the Run came out that year, and like every song from that album they played on Top 40 radio. That's when I was in love with radio. I wanted to work in radio. I wanted to be a DJ at first because of listening to these guys, do their patter, in between records. And you like half the time you can hardly wait for the next song. It's going to be good, but in between you're getting entertained by these guys.
Is that the Drake format?
That's the Drake format. That's your top 40.
The 1050 Chum employed that, right?
Right. So basically, and I worked in rock radio for a little while, but basically what it is there's no dead air. Whether can
height
you
of the drum.
Can you give it a 7? If the intro to the next song is like intro, meaning once the music begins, how long before the vocal comes in? Right.
Right. Hit the post.
Like the song Nowhere Man is a cold intro, right? It starts with he's a real nowhere man. So any song that starts cold, the disc jockey, the announcer can't speak, he can't talk over the vocals. Right. So the idea being is a lot of these songs, it was maybe 7 seconds, let's say, to the vocal, whatever the song was, China Grove. So you had that time while the music's playing to get your weather forecast in, to get the partly in, to get the temperature in, whatever. And here's, so you got 7 seconds, partly cloudy, said 45, low 13, now 15 degrees at 10:50, chow, boom. And then the song would come in.
Nowhere to run to.
Exactly. And then what happened was, in the CART system anyway, was as the song was ending, right, the last few seconds, a little light would flash to let you know that you could jump in as the DJ, because it would automatically kind of fade itself down. Or if you had an engineer, the engineer would fade the song down, and you would talk over the extra to the song.
Right.
And he would do a hot mix to the next song. Right? Said, that was the Doobie Brothers, China Grove, 1970.
Yeah, I love it. You got Jim
and then
Van
boom, and now here's the new one from so and so.
Let's see. I love that format. Hey,
love it.
Before you forget, not to change the topic, but you got to retweet. Okay. I'm gonna just say hi to some people on your YouTube channel, and you're gonna retweet that link. I want to say hi to Wayne Brown, always first in. He's in Lethbridge, and he missed us last week. A lot of people. I got a lot of notes. Brian Gerstein had a rash breaking out. He was like, what do I do? He needed his
fit. He had a rash breaking out because there was no show last Friday?
Yeah, you get addicted. And then I want to say hi to Brian because he says good morning. He's here. Steve Martin. Is that the Steve Martin?
It's the other Steve Martin.
Labrador.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't make it to Labrador. When I went to Newfoundland a couple of years ago, we wanted to go. We just didn't have the time because it's not,
Right.
you don't just zip into Labrador for a day trip. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me just
okay, you do that. So Steve Martin, a different Steve Martin, but I'm sure he also plays the banjo. Gene Velitis, this is exciting because Gene Velitis, of course, last time we recorded, I said hi to Gene because his sister-in-law was coming on Toronto Mike. In fact, she's my first, Lorraine Sagato's my first guest of 2023. And then since then, I learned from Gene. She's got the Order of Canada.
Yeah, she was named to the Order of Canada. That's pretty cool, right?
Think about that timing though. Like
that's great. Now, here's the thing. Like, now you should go off now, and you should go and interview all the members of the Order of Canada.
Well, there's 99, I think. Okay.
Well, that's just the attitude. There's like, I think everybody. I think there's
ready
three or four people on your block that are members of the Order of Canada. There's different levels of it. You see, they upgraded Eugene Levy. He was like a major, and now he's a colonel.
Companion.
Or he was a colonel, and now he's a general, or whatever it is.
You get promoted,
or whatever they call it. So people are going, wait a second, Eugene Levy, it's about time. And then they had to go, oh no, Mr. Levy has been in since 2011. Right. However, he's now gotten another star on his shoulder, or whatever. However they do that, we've added, to his portfolio, that kind of thing. But man, you're going to be a member of the Order of Canada one day, Mike.
You will be.
You're interviewing. No, not me. But for your interviewing, and you're bringing to light of all these different people from kind of different walks of life. You will expand it. I'm not saying change your name to Ontario Mike.
Canada
That's
Mike.
Crazy. But a lot of these people that you've come across from the entertainment industry, people that you're interested in talking to, eventually you can be a crossover guy. You can do a Charlie Rose. You can interview people that aren't from Toronto or part of the entertainment industry and still make it interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you're a good man. Okay. Did you retweet that or yes or no? Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah.
Okay. So just want to say that Eugene Velitis, who normally joins us from British Columbia, you know where he is right now?
I do. I was, tell me again.
Burlington, Ontario.
That's right. He's back here.
Wow. And Canada Kev. Of course, we love Canada Kev. He says good morning as well. So,
wonderful. Wonderful. I'm very, very excited about the show, which is about to begin. That'll do it for the Red Carpet Show. The credits you can see on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube. I watched the baseball game on YouTube last night. I watched the whole game.
You're going through the.
I watched the great. I'm a fan of Licey, which is the top team in the Dominican League, right? Dominican baseball, and it's exciting. The games are all on. You can watch them all on YouTube. And I get the feeling that the guys who do the game on YouTube are not the regular guys who do the regular televised games, like the Rogers guys. It's like when we watch the YouTube games, right? Or the Apple TV games. It's just a different crew. It's like people that rarely get to do it. So it's funny because these two guys were goofing around and laughing. And I'm like, that's the way to do a ball game. Like, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear Buck and Dan and just giggling and talking shit. Like, hey, look at that. There's their line drive to left. It's a base hit. And then back to just, you know what I mean?
Storytelling.
Sometimes we just take it too seriously.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The stats and everyone's like, man, just enjoy it, man.
Exit velocity. And it's like, I feel like
the ball players are out there. They're playing. We're watching the guys play a game. It's a game. And so I was listening to these guys. Didn't understand a word they were saying. All in Spanish. No idea. But they're laughing and their voices are high and low in the register. And you compare that with 3-2 pitches outside ball 4. Let's say he's averaging 4.7 walks per 9 innings. And after a while, it's like, give me some personality. Okay, ready to go?
Yeah. But I want to because I pressed a button in Zoom. Like what? I just want to tell me if you can hear that. Put your thumb up if you can hear this. Okay. Okay, that's all. Now we're gonna rock. Okay, and I begin. So you'll know when we start because you'll hear that again. Here we go. I'm going to record this.
We just do a music show one day.
I would do that. Sports jams.
Doesn't have to be sports.
Oh. Okay, I'll just try to keep it in theme.
Well, no, if you and I just got together and let's say we got together and we didn't talk sports, what would that be like?
Dude, I would do that tomorrow. I'll do that tonight. Get over here.
No, we've got to serve the sports fans. Hi, sports fans. Welcome to Hebsy On Sports, episode 314. I'm Mark Hebsher in the Little Italy studio. Toronto Mike raring to go at the mothership in New Toronto. He's south of the lakeshore, this guy. How far are you from the lake?
I could be there. If I walk, I could be there in 4 or 5 minutes. I don't know.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
If I run, awesome. 2 minutes?
I don't want you to run. Don't hurt your knees. Today on the show, here's what we got. Here's the lineup. Here's the menu. Leafs, Raptors, Blue Jays, the World Junior Hockey Championship, the death of a legend, Felix, Ovi, let's change the penalty shot rules, forced retirements in media, and why don't they try rock, paper, scissors to decide the World Cup instead of a fucking shootout? Play sudden death overtime, for fuck's sake. Soccer is really dumb. It's beautiful, but it's dumb sometimes. It's dumb. Come on, Marge. Yeah, they're going to flip a coin to see who wins the World Cup. No, wait a minute. Rock, paper, scissors. Yeah. Really, when you think about it, come on. You know, we can't substitute this guy. What do you mean? His leg is falling out. We need him for the shootout. When's that? Oh, in about 2 hours from now.
Right.
Why don't we just play sudden death? Oh, no. Do it. It's our final show of 2022. Let's let it all hang out. What do you say, Toronto Mike? Let's let it all hang out today.
Love it, Hebsy. So because we did not record last week, firstly, I'm shocked we have not recorded since that bananas World Cup final. That's crazy. But I want to say happy Hanukkah to you. We missed it, and hope you're enjoying a little.
Oh man, are you kidding? 8 crazy nights. It's been fantastic. Yeah, this year, you know, it's like there's other religions too, and other cultures where the calendar they go by isn't the calendar you go by.
Sure.
The Chinese New Year, the year of the whatever it is this year, and I know someone's going to go, you idiot, it's the year of the goat. No, it's not. It's the year of the.
I'll Google it.
Okay. But the Chinese New Year is not on the same day in January. It changes because of the calendar. And the same with Hanukkah, which this year,
rabbit.
You're the rabbit. This year, Hanukkah overlapped with Christmas, which like rarely, like once every Halley's Comet, does that happen. I think. I don't recall that happening, that Hanukkah was that late.
Right.
You know, are you kidding me? The 16th of Tishrei is the same as the 25th of December. Holy cow. Not since Jesus wore short pants has that happened. You know, some stat guy has got that. Not since Henry Aaron hit 4 doubles in one game has that happened. Someone will have that somewhere. So yeah, that's the deal there.
You had a good, because we did not record last week. You had some good family time. You had some downtime.
Yeah, really good family time. It was great. Yeah, do you want me to go to the detail? Like details about that? The food was great. The company was great. Luckily, we traveled on, in close proximity to where we were, so there wasn't any issues of, oh my God, how late are they going to be? You know, we only had one story in all the family get-togethers where someone, like traveled like 6 hours,
right,
on Highway 7 from Ottawa. Serena's sister, it's like, but they knew that the 401 was going to be closed, so there's like they took Highway 7 from Ottawa, so it took them 6 hours, and all the other ones basically were like we didn't know of anybody in our circle that had travel plans ruined. But we're watching, of course, going, oh my God, look at all that luggage. Like, oh my God, these people, these poor people. Oh my God, Southwest Airlines. Oh no, Air Canada, Twitter filled with, holiday cheer. No.
Right.
No. And again, I've told you this before, Mike, every shopping I've done for a week, I didn't see anybody fucking smile. Except when they were finally having the meal. When it was, you know what I mean? At the shopping, the traffic, the travel, nobody smiled. Merry fucking Christmas to you too. Really, people were miserable, and of course the weather just,
Yeah, it was cold and that biting wind, and yeah,
it was bad. Yeah, you combine on it. It was just, it was there. So it was like, okay, we got a new year starting pretty soon.
Now, hey, so why is it now? Please explain to me, a normie, a soccer normie, who by the way loved watching the World Cup this year, and I love watching the World Cup every 4 years. But why can't it be like the NHL where it's sudden death, like a Sidney Crosby golden goal? Like, why do we have to have this? Why can't it just be first goal wins in overtime?
When did I get here before you? I make the rules. Of course, doesn't it make perfect sense? Let's have a winner, but especially in the ultimate match, the championship match.
Right.
When you go the Wimbledon final, for example, it's not, you don't go to a tiebreaker. You got to keep playing. You keep playing until there's a legit winner. Now, eventually tennis modified its rules to add a tiebreaker, different types of tiebreakers, where you wouldn't have to win, 27 games to 25 games.
Right.
But only in the majors, you see? And so we want to come up with a way in all sports so that, it's fair. Everything from video replay, video assistant, it's part of every sport now. right? That's a given, which means if you go to cheer a goal or something, your enthusiasm is tempered. It's tempered because you're not sure if it's really a goal, even though you saw it with your own eyes.
Right.
There's somewhere in there going, I know what it's.
Is there onside? Yeah.
We gotta wait. We gotta wait.
Right.
Now, nowhere else in life do you have to do that. Like, think about it. There's no other. You get instant gratification. That happened. Okay, that happened. But that to me, that's just like I go, he's going. There's maybe a half a second of pure joy and then worry.
Right. Yeah.
It looked good. I mean, is it possible they could call that one back? Right.
Right.
And even it started with like in football is, you see a play, a guy scores a touchdown, and then you see in the corner of your screen, flag on the play, little flag, little thing. Before that, you'd have to wait for the announcer to go, there's a flag on the play. And then the TV camera would have a shot of the flag lying on the ground. Right. And then bring it that kind of thing. But now it's like, so we're used to our decision. How many seconds is it going to take? 5 seconds to find out that there was a flag and this one might come back and you're going, that's holding or whatever it is, right? Or the announcer's already stepped in to go, that's going to be holding on number 63. So when you're, like the idea is watching sports to me is you want to get the whole picture. You want to take it all in. And when that puck goes in the net or that ball goes in the basket or that field goal goes through the upper, whatever it is, you should be able to just go, oh my God, that's fantastic. And you had for hundreds of years. That's the way the fan reacted, not hundreds, but 100 years. That's the way the fan reacted. But now, lately, no. Today's fan is like watching the game, sees it, watching it live, and then immediately, as soon as the play is, going to their device to see, because you're 15 seconds behind if you watched it on television, of course. Somebody's already got it up there. Nice goal by Matthews. You're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Happens all the time. So now this idea of real time it's like suspended because you need that. And then of course, then the worst is when they go, yeah, we have a good goal. And then the guy goes, hey, and by then it's like, it's not the same.
Right.
You want that spontaneous combustion of crowd.
Okay, because Messi scores in extra time, overtime, whatever we call it in soccer, extra time, overtime. Okay, so Messi scores.
Correct.
We know, of course, the game's not over because we know the rules going in. But in a perfect world, that's it. Like that goal is
but that's just it. The commentators, I believe, said, if I'm not mistaken, that's the winning goal.
Oh, really?
They had already said it was the win. Yeah. There was 4 minutes to go or 7 minutes to go in the extra time period. But we're so used to, wait a second, that's except for basketball, for example, where you've got to play the entire 5-minute overtime period, right? You can't just, okay, we got the first basket, we win, right? Although someone did suggest that. If you win the, you win the tip, or each team has to have possession once, and then the next possession, if you hit a 3, they've got to hit a 3 to tie it. And but there's no issue with the timing in basketball. No one's going, fuck, these games take too long. Basketball's over in a couple of hours, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the World. It's the World Cup. It's like the world is watching, ladies and gentlemen. Come on over. They're going to do penalty kicks, and you're going, oh my God, we've already substituted our 4 best scorers because their tongues were hanging out after 118 minutes, and they just played 4 matches in 7 days, and they're dead. And we can't use them in the penalty shootout. So here's Gustav over here. He's a defender. He's never even tried a penalty kick in his life, but he's on the field. He's on the roster. He's, we substituted him in the 119th minute. And now we're down to this dude. This is the way you want it to decide. No. You've got to play sudden death, and you've got to do it in such a way that it's fair, obviously, but you don't kill the guys. So the suggestion of play sudden death, Messi's goal would have been the sudden death winner, right? Everybody goes home. Messi scores the winner. That would have been the ultimate. He scores the golden goal, the sudden death winner.
Yeah.
Well, why not? I mean, each team will get, well, I'm not going to say each team will get possession, but it would be awfully rare to see the team that, that takes the face off at center field in the overtime, just go right down the field and score the way they do in football. No. So you don't have to worry about that. So, okay, here we go, folks. We've played 90 minutes plus stoppage time, injury time, whatever. All right. Couldn't decide a winner. Here's the ball. Next goal wins. What's wrong with that? So, and maybe after 15 minutes, if it's still scoreless, each team drops a player. Now you're playing with 10 men. And then now you're playing with 9 men. Now that's going to be exciting. You're going to have some wide open game here. It's not going to be the same, maybe back and forth. So that I'd like to see that, because really that was a shame. I mean, if you're going to lose on penalty kicks, but again, only in the championships. You can't have that during the regular season.
Oh, no, I'm with you.
Guys would die. They would die.
Ultimate game, right?
And even in the semifinal, to have it, decided on penalty kicks is a shitty way to win. Shitty way to win.
Well, that's how the NHL does it. Where we do the 3-on-3, and then the shootout, and then when
but not in the playoffs.
But not in the playoffs, and I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Have you noticed during the holidays, if you're watching the sports on TV, that TSN and Sportsnet are using a lot of talent that normally does not work, regular shifts, right? I mean, the regulars are on holidays, right? And the programming is such that, on like Christmas Day, there's no new stuff except for NBA, and you need just someone sort of to fill in, maybe do a little Sports Center there or whatever. So I'm watching TSN, I'm watching Sportsnet, and I don't know some of these people. Like, I'm pretty up on, the talent, I guess. I saw this one guy the other night. I'd never seen him on the air before. Last night, there were 2 guys who were dressed exactly the same. It was like, remember the early days of TSN where they wore the black jackets with the TSN logo?
Sure.
Right. And they all wore the same stupid striped tie. Like, it was a uniform for a couple of years. Me and Jim were wearing fucking, Nehru jackets, earrings. Well, I was anyway, collar zips, leather ties. Right. These guys on some sport. Hello, everyone. We all look the same. So last night on TSN, the 2 dudes were dressed exactly the same. It was like watching, Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Oh, except funny. One guy was white and one guy wasn't white, and they both looked the same. They both had gray suits, white shirts, gray ties. I'm like, oh, geez.
Well, like Reservoir Dogs, right? They all dress the same.
Yeah. Like, there you go. Reservoir Dogs. And meantime, so I'm watching. So one guy's pretty good and one guy is not so good, right? On the other channel, 2 guys, both white. One of them is a sidekick on another show. And the other guy does these annoying gambling segments. And he looks evil. The other guy kind of looks evil.
I know the guy.
Like Snidely Whiplash. He reminds me of Snidely Whiplash, the other. And he's funny. Sort of, I don't know, a little offbeat kind of a thing like that. All right. But he's kind of got that look like, and he's twirling his mustache. So these are all the regular anchors are on holidays, and all the scrubs, the second stringers are getting some airtime. A lot of new faces. Who is, and I hear voices, I'm telling you, I'll hear the voice doing the voiceover, and I'm like, I don't know, who is that? Is that, I don't know. Have you found that? I know watching soccer, when I'm listening to some of the British guys, I'm like, I can't tell, is that Andy Townsend or is that Matt Holland? Boy, he's going to play that, and I can't do the accent, right? But you're listening going, who is that? Like, certain voices are distinctive and others are like, they sound the same.
For sure. Absolutely.
Sound the same. All right. The Maple Leafs choked and gagged on the Phoenix Coyotes for the second time this year. Fucking Leafs have lost 8 games in regulation all year. 2 of them to Phoenix. But I mean, that's kind of par for the course. Not just Leafs, just in sports, right? The games you're expected to win, you lose. The time you come, look at the Raptors. They go up against, was it Orlando a while ago? Like the team, and they lost like back-to-back games to these schlubs. It happens. And then they turn around and beat the best teams. That's a beautiful thing about sports. But 2 losses to Phoenix? Last night, the Yotes came from behind in the third period to win 6-3 at the 5,000-seat barn known as the Mullet Arena. All right. The Mullet Arena is going to be their home for the next 3-4 years. It's named after a benefactor, Mrs. Mullet. I don't know what her hair looked like, but anyway, anyway. As one Twitter wag mentioned, the lighting for those Canadian-Italian Hockey League games at George Bell Arena, the lighting there was better than the lighting at the Mullet Arena.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Like watching the fucking show Dark Shadows. What the hell is going on here? Like watching sometimes the lighting when they have those outdoor games.
Yeah. With
the glare and what's going on here, right? Yeah, it was just goofy, the Mullet Arena. Anyway, Morgan Riley returned last night after a 15-game absence, had an assist. But the big guns didn't show up. And am I wrong? But if you go back to your hometown, should you not have a big game? Like, what's the problem?
Or as Gene Velitis points out right now on your YouTube channel, basically you party and you're hungover, so you have a shit game. It's
possible. And they had beaten St. Louis a couple nights earlier in overtime. And I want to get to the penalty shot in overtime in a couple of minutes because that to me was just wacky. But anyway, if I was to say, like, if on your bingo card last night for Maple Leaf goal scorers, you had Holmberg, Yarncroc, and Kerfoot. All right, man, that's a lottery pick right there. Like, no Matthews, no Marner, no Nylander. Like, what's going on? No Bunting. Okay, look, you can't win them all. I get it. They've only lost 8, games in reg. They're playing good hockey, the Leafs. Who am I to complain? Come on, really. I'd like to, but I can't. They're still in good shape. They got 50 points, 9 less than Boston, who's like, Boston is really good. Yeah. But didn't Boston, I think, lost the other night to a shit team. It's there is parity, I think, in the NHL. If I say to you on any night, any team can beat any other team, that's pretty true. I'm not sure that's the case in the NBA. I think on any given night, you can, this team could kick the crap out of any team, or that team is not going to be that
way in the NBA. Absolutely.
More so. Yeah. So the Leafs are 5 points up on Tampa. Tampa won back-to-back games. Vasilevsky played back-to-back, beat Montreal, and last night beat the Rangers. Who plays back-to-back games goalies anymore?
No, it's so rare.
Yeah. Wow, eh? So, yeah, they're 5 up on Tampa. Tampa's got the goaltending. I don't know if we got the goaltending to go long-term. We'll see. Next up for Toronto, the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, Saturday night in Denver. Our Raptors may not have hit rock bottom, but they can clearly see the basement floor. There it is, right? It's getting close. We don't like this. Raps waxed by Memphis 119-106 at the bank last night. They fell behind by 10 after the first quarter, and they never recovered. The starting lineup was Koloko, Hernan Gomez, Siakam, OG, and Scotty Barnes. No Fred VanVleet in the lineup, and a pretty thin bench, if you ask me. That's not going to work when you're taking on the likes of Ja Morant, who's so good and so much fun to watch. Even if you're not a basketball fan or you don't know about the league, this guy is he's wonderful to watch. And he's got this perpetual grin, smile, something bemused look, whatever it is. I love this guy. I'm not a fan of, I'm not necessarily a fan of the Memphis Grizzlies, but I like this Ja Morant, man. He's fun to watch. 19 points, 17 dimes. Guy's beautiful to lead the way. Dylan Brooks had 25. Steven Adams, a monster inside with 14 points and 17 rebounds. The Raptors led by Siakam with 25. Gary Trent scored 20 off the bench. Raptors 10 of 28 from three-point land. Man, if you can't hit the three, you're dead in this league, man. You've got to hit your threes, and the Raps just can't do it. And when you're giving up 119 points a game, not going to work. So there are going to be some changes. And now they're not even in a play-in position now, right? They've slipped to 11th in the conference at 15-20. No rest for the weary tonight in Phoenix to take on the Suns. Good luck. Been watching the Raptors at all, Mike?
This whole week has been like just seen nothing. Yeah, so I haven't seen much. That's why I needed my Hebsy on Sports to get caught up here. And really, what I wanted to do.
Well, I'm doing all the work for both of us. You haven't done nothing to do with sports. You haven't watched any, nothing.
As usual, I watched very little, but I have been paying attention to the Blue Jays moves, and I was aching for your take on the Varsho move, and finally I get it. Like, I waited 2 weeks for this. So can you please tell me, what should I think about the Blue Jays moves?
Here's the achy breaky takey. Dalton Varsho will certainly improve the Toronto Blue Jays defensively. Left-handed bat, can hit with some power. Not a high average hitter, but that's okay. But his offensive contribution, will it be enough to replace the bat of Teoscar Hernandez? The answer to me is no. Somewhat yes, but no, you still need another outfielder. But having said that, you now have maybe the best defensive outfield certainly in the division. I don't know about in all of baseball. I haven't really gone over the other teams yet, but you've got 3 natural center fielders. And they say they're going to play Varsho in left to start, which I think that's because they haven't gotten their 4th outfielder yet, or there may be another outfielder to come along, maybe a Robbie Grossman, maybe a guy like Trey Mancini, guys who can play left field. I think Varsho is your center fielder or your right fielder. I think you got to move either Springer or Kiermaier, but none of those guys has ever played left field. I think Varsho's played the most, and he's played like 7 games. They're all natural center fielders, and most natural center fielders go to right field. if they can't, cover the ground in center. But we'll see what happens. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. 3 natural center fielders. 2 of them are left-hand bats. You need 1 more outfielder. Ross Atkins still trying to improve the bullpen. I like the addition of Chris Bassett. I think I mentioned that in our last podcast. And also maybe Hyunjin Ryu will be ready for July after Tommy John surgery, which it could be a nice surprise. Maybe Kikuchi bounces back. I don't know, Mitch White. Spring training starts in 7 weeks. Talk to me then. But so far, I'm very happy with Dalton Varsho.
We gave up a pretty penny to secure Varsho. Like this is the top.
Oh no! You got it wrong, Mike. You got it wrong. No, they overpaid.
That's why I'm here.
No, they overpaid. Varsho's a stud. They overpaid. We don't know about Moreno. I mean, there's lots of upside there, but we don't know. We don't know if and when, if he's going to mature into a great ball player. It's all potential. When you trade a young guy, it's potential.
Sure.
Sometimes you trade away Michael Young, he becomes an all-star. Hey, at the time, you didn't need him. And the guy we got for him is going to be great. He's a young guy, Varsho. So we're going to be okay there. I'm not worried at all. I think not only did the Jays get the better of the deal, I think we underpaid to get this guy. I would have given up more. Lourdes was nothing. Nothing's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Nothing. A terrible fielder as well. And Tasker, not a very good fielder at all. So you replace him with a great fielder. And Moreno, we don't know. Moreno might end up being an outfielder as opposed to a catcher. I don't know. He's a very versatile guy, but again, lots of upside, but we haven't seen enough of this guy to say that he's going to be part of the Blue Jays' future. How's he going to get past Kirk? How's he going to get past Jansen? And
it's an interesting little.
And Varsho's a catcher as well.
I was about to say that he can.
Beautiful. How many boxes are you checking there? Left-handed hitter, check. Great defensive outfielder, check. A power from the left, check. Okay, can catch, check. Okay. The World Junior Hockey Championship, run by Hockey Canada, is going on right now in Halifax and Moncton. I'm sure they're thrilled down in Halifax and Moncton. Sure, you don't get much down there. Support for the team is massive, even with the dark cloud hanging over Hockey Canada in light of, I don't have to tell you, sexual assault, allegations, incidents, the board, the corruption, everything. Break it down. Investigations continue amidst the pageantry and hoopla in Atlantic Canada. Woo, Connor Bedard, woo, Canada. Forget about all that other stuff. I don't blame them. What are they going to do? And now, hey, hi, James Duthie here. And here we are with the panel. We got Bob McKenzie. We got Cheryl Pounder. We got the O-Duck. Hey, let's bring in Rick Westhead. Rick, what's happening with Hockey Canada? Come on, update us on what's going on. Come on, let's give us the good news, Rick. No, not going to happen. That's for something else. I'm not talking about that. We don't want to hear about that. We want to hear about beating Germany with a Blitzkrieg and then Austria. And next, Hungary. We're going to be Hungary next. And Romania. What the fuck? When we beat a good team, let me know.
Right.
Until then, shut the fuck up.
Well, we set
a record against Germany. Mike, you, me, and 4 of your neighbors could give Germany a good run. Come on. This isn't the pros. These are kids. These are kids. The German under 20s are, come on, man. Austria, how did they get in? Do we have Israel too? Are they in this pool? If you're going to have this, make it the best nations only. Don't be adding these other, let's make it nice for, Austria can say, guess what? We were in. We played against these guys. Yeah, you got your clocks cleaned. The shots were 67-8. That's no fun. Just give me the best nations. Okay? Give me the Russians. Give me the Czechas. What do you call them now? Czechia. That's not Czechia, though. That's different.
Right. That's different.
Czechia. Give me the Czechs. Give me the Swedes. Give me the Finns, the Americans, the Canadians, Russians. Right? After that, come on. Slovaks, Swiss, but come on. But don't give me Austria. Until Austria can prove that they can play with these teams, the juniors, don't give me Austria. And don't give me Germany. Okay? It's great for the numbers for Canadians. Years from now, we're going to go, Jordan Eberle's record was broken, smashed by Connor Bedard. He had 74 goals, 23 of them against Austria, 11 against Germany, 16 against Poland and 9 against the United Arab Emirates. Yeah, they had a team in the World Hockey Championship. Did you know that, the juniors?
It's always been this way. Always been.
Anyway,
I'm
exaggerating, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Man.
I know.
And I don't even know about our goaltending. I can't tell you if we have good goaltending or not. Didn't look like it in the first game. I can't tell for the last 2 games. No. You're playing to Austria.
Who's next? We got a
Austria. Name me. Go ahead and name me Austrian hockey players. I give you one. The captain of the Austrian national, Jeff Geiger. A former buddy of mine, played for the Ottawa 67s, played for the Austrian team when it was said to him, your grandfather's from Austria, right? Escaped the freaking Holocaust. Oh yeah. Well, guess what? You can play for the Austrian national team. You can go to Austria. You're a non-import. Beautiful. So a lot of these guys so there aren't even enough Austrians who aren't from Austria, who have Austrian relatives, to put together a team that can get 10 shots on goal against Canada. Come on, I don't want to watch that. When it all comes down.
Well, are you watching or not?
I watched some of it, but I know Connor Bedard is good. But the other night I couldn't watch. Once it was 5 or 6, whatever. I couldn't watch anymore. The horn goes off forever. How about the other night when they scored their 9th goal and whoever scored it was so fucking embarrassed he didn't go and do the punch, the fist bump with all of his teammates on the bench. He was embarrassed.
Well, that's the way it should be.
9-0, man. You're not going to do fist bumps. Woo-hoo-hoo.
No.
I don't want that. Anyway.
But Hebsy, I don't understand. Like, if you did this in the women's game, you'd have 2 teams at every tournament. Like, how are these teams like Austria going to improve if we don't invite them to the big show? Like, you got to have
a different pool. Let them play against each other. Let the Austrians play against the Germans and let them play that. Let them develop in that pool. And then when they're good enough, okay, then they can come and play with the big boys. Or I should say the big boys, the young guys, the under 20s.
But remember that Olympic game when Martin Gerber stopped us and Switzerland beat us?
Yeah, but that's Olympics. We're talking about kids here.
Sure. Okay.
Come on, you know as well as I do. This kid, how old is this kid? 17? Connor Bedard?
Yeah, something like that.
Come on, man. They don't have 17-year-olds playing like that in Germany and in Austria.
No, not outside of Draisaitl.
And even Shane Wright, who's an NHL, was a number 1 pick, or not, wasn't a first round pick, yeah, and got sent, back to junior. I mean, come on. Not fair. So we're great, but we're beating the shit out of lousy teams.
But I have a question on this tournament, which prior to a couple of years ago, I think I watched every Canada game. Like, this was appointment viewing for me. I was a really big fan. In the last 2 tournaments, I've watched like 2 minutes of it this year. Like, basically all the sexual assault allegations and all the payoffs and everything have taken this bloom off the rose for me. But what are I don't know, do you have any insight into, is the country watching? Like, are they getting anything?
Oh, I'm sure they are. It's because it's a tradition.
I don't know. I'm not as sure as you. Like, it doesn't feel the same. Like, for me.
For you, it doesn't. But I mean,
can't be alone.
I think people can separate what had happened in the past and the board of directors, these faceless, people or whatever, versus these young kids who you're rooting for. You're rooting because they're the kids. You're rooting for kids.
Right.
You're rooting for these young Canadian kids who could be your neighbors. In fact, we're watching the game the other day, and my girlfriend's son, who's, is a hocky player.
Right. Elliot Lake.
Didn't that kid there, didn't you play with him? And yeah, he played for the Young Nats. Right. So you've got, again, there's like 2 degrees of separation, 1 degree of separation between you, most Canadians, and these kids and their families that are following, right? And the games are in Halifax, which means that it's everybody in Canada can watch. It's not like, get up at 4 a.m. to watch this game or something like that.
Sure.
But, there's a lot of other things that are going on as well. And again, like, let me know when they play Sweden, then I'll watch. But, hey, come on, let's go watch Canada, Austria. Let's go watch our guys kick the shit.
No, it's no fun.
Out of the Viennese boys.
No fun, but we got hammered pretty good because I caught a couple of minutes of the Czech Republic match, and we got beat pretty good. Like, so there's a decent team.
Oh, there's big expectation. Oh, no, but did you see people were just going like, what the fuck is this? Fuck off, Canada. Don't give us this shit. Like, really, like, laying into these guys. Like, we expect to win. We expect to win the World Junior Championship every year.
Of course.
There you go.
Of course.
All right. Sad news. The world lost an icon yesterday when the great soccer star Pele passed away at the age of 82, much like Muhammad Ali. He preceded Muhammad Ali when it came to popularity. Pele was known the world over from the time he was 17 years of age and led Brazil to the 1958 World Cup. He remains the only man to win 3 different World Cups. He was born Edson Arantes do Nascimento in one of Brazil's poorest neighborhoods and rose to become the greatest soccer player of all time. And with all due respect to Lionel Messi and the rest, Pele was the greatest. First saw him in 1975 at Varsity Stadium. He played for the New York Cosmos. He came out of retirement. They waved a lot of money at him, the Cosmos, and said, look, we need to save this league, the North American Soccer League, and you're the guy to do it. And he came out of retirement like a month earlier. Big news, big signing. He's going to play for the New York Cosmos. And like the Toronto Metros are averaging, I don't know, maybe 4,000 fans a game, maybe, in the North American Soccer League. And boom, Pele. And so the place was packed. The Varsity Stadium with over 20,000. There was, they say, I think another 4,000 fans trying to get into the game, right? Of which some succeeded, including myself and my buddy. We couldn't get tickets to this game. We vaulted the frickin' fence. Okay. There was like 8 security guards. They weren't prepared.
Yeah, at Varsity Stadium, you can do that.
They weren't prepared.
Yeah.
The old Varsity, we're not prepared. Okay. And plus we had jumped in. We had gotten into games before. We had gotten into Toronto Rifles games in the Continental Football League. They had a team. Okay. 4-down football. They played at Varsity Stadium. The same thing. You could, if you were faster than the security guard, you could vault the fence, you run around the back of behind the goalposts, grab a seat in the bleachers, and they would never find you.
How did he play? Like at that point in his, because he's out of retirement. So is he in his?
He played. Oh, he was terrible. He was terrible. He played awful. He just did not play well. He wasn't in shape really, and I think he had an injury. And plus the guys for the Metros were kicking at him. By this time he's, I don't know,
like late 30s.
Late 30s, yeah, late 30s,
Right.
Late 30s. Well, he was 17 in 1958, so figure that one out. Born in 1940, so he would have been 35 years old, but not in great shape. And and people were booing because people were like, "This is the great Pele. This is him." Like, did not look good. Like, I'm telling you. And Toronto kicked the snot out of them anyway. Toronto had a good team, 3-0. They beat them. And then later that summer they came back. He might have been injured, and then the following year, and then the year after that. So, I think he came to Toronto 3 or 4 times. He did not speak any English. Everything was done through a Portuguese interpreter. I wasn't in the media at the time for the first one, but when he came back in 77, I was there. I had the microphone going, and I could still hear him speaking with that deep voice in Portuguese.
Right.
And of course, a lot of Portuguese in Toronto, and man, they ate up everything. And Johnny Lombardi and Chin were all there. It was wild. It was good.
So you saw him play, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Even though he was past his prime, but
yeah.
Can you please talk to me, like in the Gen X here, who we never saw him play, but we've always, like my whole life, Pele has been this godlike figure, the GOAT, the greatest player of all time. Like, how can you give me a sense of how good was he?
I can't, because you'd have to go to YouTube. He did things that no one else ever did. And now every move you ever see by every soccer player, Pele did it first. So go to YouTube and educate yourself, man. And go see the movie Victory. With Sylvester Stallone and Michael Caine and Pele. It's a prison. He plays on the prison soccer team. They're all POWs in the Second World War. It's awesome, man.
Well, what a loss for the world. I don't know if there's a more famous person in the world.
No. Not since Muhammad Ali passed away. Not since Nelson Mandela. You know what I mean? You're talking about a worldwide figure and a mythical figure and like the greatest ambassador soccer ever had. By far.
Right.
Loved young kids, wanted his people to be educated. They lost 2 generations of education with the corruption in Brazil, and the education system suffered the worst.
Right.
He was a great man, and a terrible loss.
What a loss.
Okay, the World Cup. Great to see Messi and Argentina win, but the shootout rule, like we said, has got to be scrapped. For all the beautiful things soccer has to offer, the championship game at the World Cup has to be decided by sudden death overtime. Okay, winning on penalties, like I said, is like winning a game of rock, paper, scissors. It's the most empty feeling. First of all, any player who was taken off in the previous 120 minutes cannot return to the pitch for penalties. I don't like that. You've got players who rarely take penalties out there at the most crucial moment. The most crucial moments. They're not prepared for it. They shouldn't be either. You want your best on best. Scrap the 30-minute extra period, play sudden death. Reduce the number of players on the pitch every 15 minutes. You will have a legitimate winning goal. It may not be pretty. Guys will be dog tired, but you're going to get a break, a 3-on-1, a 2-on-1, something in the open field. And you will have winners. But no more with the shootout.
Could not agree more. And I'll just point out something interesting Brian mentioned earlier when I was stealing your thunder off the top, because I didn't realize we hadn't recorded since the World Cup final. It feels like 100 years ago now. But another move that coaches make is that as the game's winding down, they start to sub in players who are good at penalty kicks, like specialists almost. It's almost
correct.
Like the reason you carry Donovan Bailey's on the Blue Jays because we might need a pinch runner who can steal second base.
No, 100%. That's exactly right. If you know that there's look, once you go into overtime, extra time, the 2 15-minute halves of the 30-minute extra period, once you're there and you're subbing, for sure you're subbing in guys that can score, but are shoot penalty kicks for sure.
Like
that's what they practice. If you're a sub,
go ahead.
If you're a sub, you're going to be subbed on late. You'd better be prepared to take penalty kicks.
Right.
You better be practicing those penalty kicks.
Right.
But not all of them. And again, if you get past a certain, it's 5 kicks, sometimes you get to the 4th, 5th guy, here's so-and-so who's never, young guy, oh, Jesus Christ. And the net looks a lot smaller now. And, I don't want it to end that way. I never want to see it end where a guy misses. A great save, sure. A phenomenal save, great. But a guy misses like Harry Kane when he hit it over the bar against France. Okay, while I'm at it, TJ Brodie was awarded a penalty shot in overtime the other night when he was pulled down on a breakaway. Okay. And why would TJ Brodie have a breakaway? Because it's overtime, it's 3-on-3. It just was one of those things.
Sure.
And overtime in the NHL is like a fire drill. Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoa, where's it? Bad change. It's crazy. I'm sure the Maple Leafs would have loved to have declined the penalty shot and taken a 2-minute power play instead, but it's not an option. Like in the NFL, you can decline the penalty. No. We'll take the play, right? So in this case here, why would the Maple Leafs not? And this is a serious question. Why would the NHL consider in that case saying, you know what? We don't want the penalty shot. We don't want it. He's not a good penalty shooter. We don't want that. We want the power play. Can we have the power play instead? The ref goes, oh, sure. Okay. Up to you. You can have the option. Now, I always thought about this in golf. In golf, if you had the best score, if you made a birdie on the previous hole and the other guy made a par, you get the honors. I always thought you should be able to defer if you wanted to. So you know what? I don't like the way the wind's blowing. I want him to go first. Right? Same as a coin toss. Same as a coin toss in football. You want this end or do you want the ball? Which one? You choose. If you take the ball, they get the choice of when they want the end. They'll take the end with the wind in the second half, all that shit.
Right.
Why not? Why not introduce it? Why not? That's all I'm saying. Because you don't want TJ Brodie taking a penalty shot in overtime. You don't want that. You want the power play. You want the 4-on-3, baby. You're going to score. Much better chance. So anyway, he misses the penalty shot. The Leafs end up winning anyway in overtime. But my point is, can we change the rule? Could we do it? Is it possible? So the idea of this, if you have an advantage, should you, with that advantage, you should have the option, no matter what it is, the option of, I'll go first. I'll take the ball. I'll take the penalty. I'll take the penalty instead of the penalty shot. I'll decline that to take that. Or why not?
Make it like soccer. Like in soccer, we're used to now, there's a penalty kick and then Messi's taking it, even though the penalty wasn't on Messi.
Right. You can, the other one is, again, if that's not the case, then designate a player. Does it have to be a player who was on the ice?
Yeah, but maybe that's
sure. Okay. A player who's on the ice can take the. Okay, all right, that's fine.
So
same as a player on the field.
Well, let Nylander take it, and
but not. I mean, here's TJ Brodie on a breakaway. First of all, seeing him on a breakaway is easy, right? The other one is now I got to watch TJ Brodie wind up for a penalty shot. Really, to win the game? No.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, come on, lumbering defenseman, sniper. Who would you rather have taken the penalty shot?
We're rewriting all the rules today, Hebsy.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching some, and there are some dumb rules still in sport. Right. A lot of dumb rules.
Hey, but I will say I like it.
A lot of dumb rules in sport. Are there not?
We're gonna
tons of them. Tons of them. You're okay. You had a birdie last hole. You're on her. The wind is blowing 1,000 miles an hour. I don't want to go first. You have to.
I like that change.
Why do I have to? Because you do. Why can't I have the option? I mean, I just made a birdie. I'd like the option. No, you have to go first.
So I know we're going to talk NFL.
I don't want to go first. I'm going to hit it in the water. I don't know what club to hit. I want to watch him hit it in the water first. Anyway,
I like your change.
I've always had a beef about that. Always
Makes sense. Makes sense. So we're going to talk NFL now, but I'll just go on the record to say I actually like the NFL rules as it is now, where like the field goal doesn't end the game. Now the other team gets a chance, but the touchdown ends the game. Like, I actually like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. It took them a while to figure it out, but let's face it, for years, the rule was a dumb one because you win a coin toss, you get the ball, you drive downfield, you score, the game's over.
Right.
No fair.
Ends the
No
game.
fair, because
Bullshit.
it's about a game of possession. Whereas in hockey, you do a face-off. Even if the team wins the face-off, the likelihood of them never giving up possession of that puck and scoring, right? And you going, oh, we never had a chance to touch the puck, is a bit different than, they've got the football and 4 downs to get 10, 4 more downs, kick a field goal, game's over. Thanks very much for coming out.
So, Hebsy, after your NFL update here, I have a question for you from the YouTube about the NFL. So,
well, can you ask me the question now, and then I can
get into
my other thing instead of doing my other thing and worrying about a question that's coming? Then
you don't have to worry about it.
Well, what's your question?
Ask Hebsy about roughing quarterback calls. I am at a loss on it. Can't land on the quarterback, but in tackling it,
cannot touch the quarterback. Yeah. You cannot touch the quarterback. Now, that is completely the opposite of the original intent of football, which was, from a defensive standpoint, the other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
Right.
That's Al Davis. You must punish the other team's quarterback.
Right.
That's the way the game should be played. Now, you have too many injuries to quarterbacks. Sorry. But this is a physical, violent game. And if I'm 280 pounds and I've just been taking on a 320 pounder that's trying to knock me to the ground, and I get by him and I'm full speed coming at you, and you're about to throw the football and I got a clean shot at you, and what, I got to pull up? I got to, what is it, two-handed touch we're playing? Fucking take a look at some of the old quarterbacks in the NFL, okay? You want to play quarterback? You're going to bleed. You're going to get a concussion, you're getting a fucking broken jaw. You're going to try shit like that? That's right. So that's the type of quarterback that should be playing in the NFL. But the rules now in the pocket, look, Josh Allen is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of Josh Allen's career, he may have and likely will have some pain after playing in the National Football League. His joints are going to be sore, maybe more than that. He's going to have headaches. He might have trouble sleeping. But when you play this game of football, you're aware of the risks. You just are. And so, roughing the passer is, man, don't touch the quarterback. Whereas it used to be, go hit the quarterback. Give him a shot. I can make him pay. He wants to stand in there, he'll let him take it. And everybody was fine with that. Everyone was fine with that for years. And then, oh my God, look at the concussions. Look at CTE. Look what's happening to these guys. These are the marquee players. If they're getting injured all the time, who's going to come out and watch football games? Right? Joe Namath, 7 knee operations.
Oh, sure.
I mean, all that stuff. And so, and you see some of these guys now, and they're not so quick, they're not so sharp. Whacked enough times, you're in pain. And if you're in pain, maybe you're taking painkillers, or maybe I don't know. So that's football. It's a violent game. All right. And you better be prepared to get hit, and you can only be protected so much. And that ground is hard. That tundra is frozen. It's hard. You hit the ground hard. You choose to play it, you suffer the consequences. Fans love it. Bloodlust. I love football. Love it. The harder they hit, the better. Just as long as it's not to the head. NFL regular season's got 2 more weeks, Mike. I honestly thought last week, I'm going, it's Christmas. It's the final week, right? I mean, playoffs. No, 2 more weeks. 2. Okay. The Super Bowl is in April this year. They're playing all through January. There's 2 more weeks. Okay. Last night, the Cowboys beat Tennessee 27-13 and moved to 12-4 on the season. That's 2 consecutive 12-win seasons and 2 more weeks to go. The Buffalo Bills play the Monday nighter in Cincinnati. So that's Monday. So that's January 2nd. Then the following week, what is it? Let me look at my calendar here. The 8th of January is the final week, and they host New England. So Buffalo, January 8th at home. What do you think the weather is going to be like? Let's take a guess. Take a shot.
Cool.
Not December the 8th when it was bad enough. January the 8th. Okay, a couple more weeks. NFL, you got to pay these guys, man. As much, it used to be the Super Bowl was like the 2nd week of January. It was done. Christmas, the week of Christmas was the playoffs. And there was a week of break. And then the Super Bowl was like the 8th, 9th, 10th. And then it was the 15th. Then it was the 23rd of January. Then it was the last week of January. And now it's like the second week of February. Like the playoffs don't begin till the 15th of January. That's nuts. Football's supposed to be a fall game. Way too much. Oh my God. Now, come on, Marge, we're going to go. We're going to go to Buffalo. We're going to Buffalo January the 8th. See the Bills in New England. How about that? You want to go? Bring your snowblower. Despite not winning a major this year, Felix Auger-Aliassime has won the Lionel Conacher Award as the top male athlete in Canada as voted by the Canadian press. Wow. Felix won 4 times this year and knocked off the likes of Djokovic and Nadal in the process. Now, some people felt that he would not win the award unless he had a major championship under his belt. Well, guess what? He won it anyway. And a major victory is certainly attainable in 2023. This guy is good. And he led Canada to the Davis fucking Cup.
But no one noticed because we were in the World Cup. And no one knew it was on anyway. Like nobody.
Bullshit. People knew.
I don't think the sorry, what is it? What sport is this? The non-tennis fanatics did not know.
Bullshit. They all knew.
All right.
They
Outside
did.
of you
didn't know.
You
didn't know because you were the one who said that he won't win the award because he hasn't won a major.
I'm shocked because usually
you said, Mike. You said.
I said that. Yeah.
He cannot. I said Felix Auger-Aliassime is going to win the award. You said not unless he wins a major. I said bullshit. 4 fucking wins. Guy's great. And by the way, Marie-Philippe Poulin, the captain of the Olympic gold medal winning women's hockey team, won the Bobby Rosenfeld Award as the top female athlete. As far as I'm concerned, that other award does not exist anymore.
Okay.
Mike, have you noticed a lot of media personalities seem to be leaving the business when they still have the chops to be on air?
Of course, yes.
So George Lagodianis, his last day was yesterday.
Yes.
City TV, is that C or CP20? I can't remember.
Well, CP24 now.
So that's Bell Media, right?
Correct.
Now, I've been watching George since, I'm going to say the late 80s when he was on like Much Music.
Yeah, Electric Circus was like
yeah. And so he's not that old. Are you telling me that this guy voluntarily retired? He's so good. Voluntarily retired? Or did Bell Media say, okay, George, time to go. You're going to join Lisa LaFlamme, Rod Black, Michael Landsberg, Joe Tilley, the list
Stephanie
goes on.
Smythe.
Stephanie Smythe, the list goes on, of all these Bell Media personalities, all these people who were on the air who were all very, very good and had lots of gas left in the tank. You're going to join all of them? You're telling me that this is all voluntary? No. Mike, I don't like this, Mike. I don't like this. Everybody in their prime, nobody's still working in mainstream media. All these new faces making mistakes, not nearly as presentable as these other people, ones I've just mentioned and others. Really a sad state of affairs. Glad I'm not in the business anymore. I'd be shaking in my fucking boots if I was in my 50s.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because, as you know, I watch this stuff pretty closely. So you're right. Almost of a certain age, right? Like, so Landsberg's gone. You know, Landsberg, even though he might tell you otherwise because he told me otherwise, but you won't believe him when he tells you one day he woke up and said, I don't feel like having this, mainstream media gig anymore. Like, I think I'll just go do like whatever. And Rod Black at least came clean when I called him the day he announced it. He's like, you know how it works in this day and age. You've been around a long time. You're making a lot of money. You get the tap on the shoulder. Time to wrap it up. Lisa LaFlamme, that was a shocker. We all talked about that. But yeah, it's and I'm thinking of people that, like Ken Shaw, for example. Did Ken Shaw, who was still very capable and young, did he wake up one day and say, I'm tired of hosting Toronto's most popular, newscast. I think I'll go fishing. Roger Peterson, Kevin Frankish, all these people, they get the tap on the shoulder and say, time's up.
Been there. Got the tap on the shoulder. Time was up.
But you didn't get what some of these people get, which is the tap. And I got this story from Christine Bentley, who told me straight up. She got the tap on the shoulder, and they said, there's 2 ways to do this. They said, you can get walked out by security with a box, okay? Right. Or we can give you a retirement cake on the air, and you can tell people you're retiring and then save face. And, she took that option, and then she regretted it. But in that moment, you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to I want to be able to say goodbye and spin it as a retirement. That's why the Lagoganises and the Michael Landsbergs, they get the opportunity to spin it a little bit. Oh yeah, I decided I'm going to go do nothing for a while and make
want to spend more time with the family.
Right. But you mentioned when was the last person, and I don't know why I believe him, but he swears up and down. Peter Mansbridge swears to me that he said by a certain age he wasn't going to be hosting the show, and he made.
Oh no, that's different because he got a nice little landing. He got a nice parachute because he got to do special stuff, right? So you go from being a chief anchor to correspondent 3-4 times a year, a special, maybe for election coverage, right? So it's not like Mansbridge said, "That's it, I'm out of here." He just stepped away from the anchor desk.
The National.
Yes, he stepped away from the anchor desk, and he was still a big part of CBC. And so that's different. Lloyd Robertson was the same, special correspondent, and bring him in for certain events, the Queen, whatever it was, right?
Right.
That's a natural. That's someone who really achieved a certain status that they just, the top status. We don't just let them go. We let them go out on their own, right?
Right.
Gracefully on their own. Like they could have said to Lisa LaFlamme, we want Omar to do the desk. All right. We can't pay you what we're paying you, but in order to save face, we'd like you to make you whatever special correspondent, or you do 4 specials a year, or whatever it is. That kind of a thing. That way it's more palpable. That way it's not like, hey, they fired her. It's like, all right, they want to, she's a good reporter. She's an excellent reporter. Let's get her out there. She's a correspondent. Let's get her doing some special features, and she's still Lisa LaFlamme.
Right.
Trusted journalist.
Right.
So,
right. You're right. It's god awful. Even if you think about sports radio in this market, and you think about people.
Sports radio is a joke. It's a joke. I did some listening during the holiday. That's the other thing. I'm on holiday. People are on holidays. They're listening to people. They're listening to fill-ins. They're not even listening to the regular people that take up those time slots. Right?
Is it
some of them aren't even
that?
Some of them aren't even that good.
Wow.
It's really,
But the people who were good, let's say Bob McCowan and Stephen Brunt, those are 2 names I think of that were good at this, and they were good, and they did it a long time, and both got the tap on the shoulder. You're out, right? Gord Martineau, right? Gord Martineau wasn't suddenly not bad. He wasn't suddenly a bad anchor for.
No kidding.
He just got the tap and said, you're done at the end of the week. And this is how it goes in this country. I feel like Dave Hodge, I'm going to flip a pen and say, this is how it goes in this country today.
You telling me that Dave Hodge isn't one of the most capable sports journalists out there? That I mean, come on. And how many years has it been since he had, a regular gig?
Oh, it's been a while now. 5.
Oh, come on. I mean, there's a great example right there. You could drop him into anyone's coverage of commentary, analysis, hosting, whatever it was. Come on. I mean, I want to know why not. Why? Because he's not good enough? Far from it.
So what happened is for sure is at some point, because mainly it's cable companies, but it's not just cable companies because there's Chorus and others at play here. But at some point they decided the call letters, the branding was bigger than the personality in this country. And they didn't want to create these stars who would demand high salaries when they can just keep the costs low and in control. And it doesn't matter because people will tune in to the CTV national news even if Mark Hebscher's hosting.
I could do a damn good job. I read a prompter as good, if not better, than anyone in the business. I'm one of the best at reading prompter. Okay. Don't kid yourself.
Put the earring back in.
It's an art. It's an art. All right. Yeah, it's a shame. It's really too bad. Yeah. Just as you get to know somebody, just as you're comfortable with somebody, it's like, oh, sorry, you're too old.
Right.
You're in your 50s. George is like in his 50s,
got rid of Bob
right?
Cole. Okay. I like Bob Cole.
There you go. We miss all these people. All right. Finally, how do you feel about Alexander Ovechkin and his chase now for Wayne Gretzky's record of 894 NHL goals? Personally, I'm disgusted by Alexander Ovechkin. He's a great hockey player. Period.
Sure.
The Canadian-Ukrainian Congress has asked Canada to refuse Ovechkin permission to enter the country because he has refused to speak out against the genocide in Ukraine and still has a picture of him and Vladimir Putin as his social media avatar. Mike, I'm not comfortable with this at all. Ovechkin may not be able to speak out for fear of reprisal, but he has to disassociate himself with Putin and the regime. And until that happens, I cannot root for him at all. And in fact, I hope he breaks his ankle.
Yep. I'm the same boat, Hebsy. I cannot root for this man. And it's got, some people are like, oh, well, because you want the Canadian to have the record. And there's always going to be a little bit of that. Like, he's not Canadian. I like the Canadian having the record. But no, it's not that. If he was American, it's because he so blatantly supported Vladimir Putin, and he hasn't rejected this, this horrific invasion. And I tune into the news and I see, they're hammering away at these Ukrainian cities and they have no power and they're all in the subways trying to survive. And it's so disgusting that this is happening today on planet Earth. And even the fact he's still associated with Putin. No, I hope he breaks his ankle too.
Yeah, I don't want anything good to come for the Russian people or any Russian person while this is going on. All right? No one that claims to be a Russian. I'm not talking about someone that got the fuck out of there and they're trying to have a life here, like Ovechkin. Okay? He's in America. He earns his money in the United States. Go ahead and denounce Russia and stay in the United States. You need to go home, get your family out of there. You can afford it. The fuck is it? Well, he's chasing the record. Great. This is great. Oh, I can see it now. When he scores 895 on the same fucking day that Russia takes over, all of Ukraine, and then starts invading other countries.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. And they invade Poland. You can celebrate this, the Great Eight.
Like I said before, okay, I hope he breaks his ankle. Come on, come clean, Ovechkin. Okay, do it, or else, man, there's going to be a little asterisk next to your name when you get, when you go past Gretzky. You're going to have that hanging all your whole life. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Episode 314 of Hebsy on Sports is in the books. Thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike. And a happy new year to all of you. And thanks for allowing us into your headspace. We're back with another episode next week. I promise this time we will be back in 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. So long for now.
Happy New Year.
I hope he breaks his ankle.